so 8 threads. The most important thing I found with the graphics card when you're doing 3D rendering is the amount of memory on it, and thankfully with the new video cards in the video release, they have 8 gigabytes of memory, so generally that's enough. Like I'm looking at my usage at the moment, the video card's using 7 gig, so loading up these textures. But remember it's a large model and a lot of textures. There's 80 textures there, so yeah, I'm going to bring it into Eon View and create a 3D environment using vegetation in View and render a couple of beauty shots out from View while I'm in View. I probably will do that next week though, not today, because today I want to work on creating some normal maps. We've got a 4870 with 1024 megabytes. You can still create larger models, you've just got to do it in pieces. So if you have a video card like the GASE where you've only got like 1 gigabyte of memory, and you want to create something that is going to use maybe 7 gigabytes of memory like this is, you won't be able to have it all together at the same time, but you can block it all out. So when I first started streaming, you saw this model just blocked out with shapes and plain colors before any texturing or anything was done. You've got a pleb quality PC leadness. Well, you do great work for a pleb quality PC. So you just do it in sections though, so don't have it all together at the same time. Work on just maybe the dome, the columns on the dome as one file, and then work on texturing up the base, and then put it all together at a later date. How do you optimize for game engine? Seems kind of a pain to make LODs by hand. This won't. I actually was saying I might bring this into the Unreal Engine, because I know a couple of you guys like to use Unreal. I'd have to do a bit of poly optimization on it before I did that though. Do I just, Zigas is asking, do I just scale down textures and use a retopology for the mesh? Pretty much. What I generally will end up doing, if I do bring this into Unreal, I will, as you said, scale the textures down. It's always better to create a large texture and shrink it, because you won't lose any information. If I wanted to bring it into Unreal, I'd take the 4K textures, maybe take them up to half of that to 2K. A couple of them I wouldn't. I'd like this outer base here is 4K, and I would keep it at 4K in Unreal because it's such a large part of the model. You don't want to shrink it down too much, otherwise you'll get too much pixelation when you move into it. But yeah, generally to shrink it down for a game engine, I'd shrink the textures down probably in Photoshop. You could do a retopology on parts of the mesh, or you could run a Pro Optimize on them, which is generally what I end up doing. There's a plugin here in Max, part of Max, called Pro Optimize. I use that quite a bit. I did that when I optimized these the vines here. And sorry, I didn't show that on stream, guys. I did that last night, but it's just basically selecting the object and running a Pro Optimize modifier on it. Generally, I'll do that if I want to reduce the polygon counts on something. Retopology is usually used quite a bit for character work, so that the movement when you're animating something, it's easier to animate. They're not plugins; they're actually part of Max. But yeah, I know Blender doesn't have. Blender has other things that Max doesn't have, I'm sure, as well. I just show you guys Max because that's the program I work with in my working day to day. But like I said, and like I've said all along while I've been working on stream, every 3D program is great now. There is no one really that's necessarily better than the other. There are just some that do things a little bit more easily than others. 3D Studio Max is used quite a lot in architectural visualization because it has a lot of things built into it, like creating stairs and window frames and that sort of thing. Blender has what Max doesn't have. Yeah, well that's right. It crashes. Oh, I don't know. I know a few guys in my chat here that use Blender, and I've watched people streaming it. It hasn't crashed too much that I've seen. Max crashes. I mean, Max crashed on me yesterday afternoon. It hogs memory as well. Okay. It's what you prefer, but you like simplistic Blender. That's fine. Blender is a great 3D program. I'm not going to say that one is better than the other because they're not. I know that people who work in 3D, some guys like to say, oh, Maya is the only one to use and everything else is shit. Max is the only one to use, or you're an idiot if you don't use it, or Blender is the only one to use, or Cinema 3D 4D is the only one to use. They're all good. They all get the job done. Particularly now that they're mature programs. I mean, you know. Are you trying to post a link or something, Zagast? No, you can't post links, Zagast. I have that turned off. Sorry for not being a bit rude there too, Zagast. Tell me what you want to post, and if I'd have to add you as a regular to my Nightbot to allow you to post a link. What do you want to post a link to? Do you want to show me something, some of your work or something? Because if you do, let me know, and I can permit you. But I need to know exactly what you're posting to. Why is it something that you made? What is it, an image? Is it to the guys in stream, and if you open the link as well, yeah. Alright, just give me a sec, Zagast. It's an image file I'm assuming you want people to look at. Just we turn off. I turn off links in my chat so that I don't get any spam bots popping in. But I can permit you if you want, or I will permit you if it's if it's an image file that you want to show everyone. Tell me, and I will permit you to post it a link. I just want to make sure that you're exactly what it is you're trying to link to. You know. No, I can see you in chat, Zagast. I can see you say, "Can you not read my replies?" I can see what you're talking here. Alright, just give me a second, Zagast, and I'll permit you. Yeah, just wait a minute, Zagast. Let me go into my dashboard here in Nightbot. Don't post until I tell you though, otherwise you'll get banned. Alright. You should be good to post a link now, Zagast. I don't know why the reply would be over a minute long. I know there's about a 30-second delay between when you type in the chat and when you hear me reply to you. That's about a 30-second delay generally. That's just Twitch. That's the way Twitch works. And but you have been permitted to post a link now, Zagast, so there you go. There's no delay for you, Leetness, so that's good to hear. I know when I monitor, I don't have my stream open while I'm streaming because my crappy internet over in this country isn't that great, but I know there's generally about a 30-second delay when I watch my stream back. So it can vary between depending on where you are, I guess. What have we got here? So yeah, just depending on where you are, the gas delay will be a bit longer. Yeah, no, I know the feelings of gas. The internet here isn't great either. Trust me. They're trying to make it better, but yeah, it's still not great. So I feel for you. I know what you mean. So yes, that's what we were working on. We got a bit sidetracked here. We've saved out these stairs here at the bottom. That we're going to create a normal map for. Thank you, Christophan, for following my Twitch channel. I do appreciate it, so thank you very much. It's always great when you guys follow me on Twitch. Thank you. Not sure if my notification popped up or not though. Anyway, I may have just missed it. So thank you for following. What I want to do though is, as I save these pieces out, I want to check in my material editor here what material map it's using, and I want to move that into the folder we're creating. No problems, guys. Thanks for popping into chat. You didn't sidetrack me, it's cool. Like I said, thanks for popping in. So I just want to check what material this is using as I start saving them out. This one's using lower stairs painted R2, so I'm going to jump into my folder here. Find that file, which is a target file. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm only doing this so that when I start working in Null to create the normal maps, everything is together and easy for me to find. Basically, that's the reason I'm doing this. And I don't have to jump back into Max to try and work out what diffuse map the object is using. Alright, so we're doing our lower stairs here. We are going to do our top stairs here. So basically what I'm doing here is selecting the different pieces of geometry that I want to create normal maps for. Just in case anyone might have joined that wasn't sure what was going on. I'm going to export selected. Again, I'm saving as an OBJ. Null can accept FBX files as well, but we'll work with OBJ because that's what I generally work with. You can use OBJ in just about any program. FBX you can't use in everything. Okay, so we're going to create a normal map for that, create a normal map for that. I want to create a normal map for these side pieces as well. Just before I do that though, I do want to check my material here. And that one is Steps 3 diffuse painted. And again, I'm doing this so that when I bring it into Null, I don't have to go searching for my textures. Okay. I want to do these side pieces as well, these front border pieces. So and again, I'm just going to check my texture. And it's called lowest there border right underscore painted. Yeah, I like a long name in that one, didn't I? Lowest there border right underscore painted. This one here. And again, this is our final version textures through here. Max's resource collector put them all in the one spot for us. Very handy. I want this border over here as well. And again, thank you, Christopher, for the follow. I do appreciate it. You notice a lot of people never apply textures in 3D Studio Max and just use Substance. So yeah, a lot of people do use Substance Painter or Substance Designer, one or the other. I like that hand-painted look, personally. That's why I use Mari and paint the textures myself. I just can sometimes find if you're using substance materials, they can all look a bit the same, a bit samey. You know, chipped paint is going to look like chipped paint on everything. It's generally a problem, more of a problem for metallic objects. It does metal really well. Physically based textures, metal textures as well. I'm not bagging Substance Painter or Designer. They're both great programs, and I own both of them, and I have used them, not for about a year though. But I like hand painting my textures up. It gives it more of a personal touch. I think takes a bit longer. It makes things look a bit more unique as well. Yeah, no, I agree. I like putting it all together, and yeah, it's hard if you're creating in 3D model and you're texturing it up if you can't see what all the different bits together are going to look like. So if you're using a third-party program and you're not looking at the entire model in Max textured together, it's very difficult for you to get things to blend, to look right, if you know what I mean. If they're all together like they are now, all textured up, then you can easily tell if something needs changing. You know, if the texture isn't working for the model or not. Like, I don't know if you guys were watching my earlier streams when I first started streaming, you know, 5 or 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago. But these stairs, I changed that texture maybe 3 times, jumping between Photoshop and Mari and Max. And unless you've got it all together like that, you can't really, it's hard for you to tell whether the texture is going to work or not. But Substance Painter is certainly good. I have a feeling you can actually load substances into Max, I think. I haven't really looked into that a lot because I use Mari, but I think you can actually load up substances into Max if you do want to sort of like see what it's going to look like on your model. I'm not sure about Blender, if you can do it in Blender or not. Yeah, well, like I said, and I'm going to say it again to anyone watching, what I showed, when I work, I'm showing you my process for doing something. I'm not saying this is the only way to do it. I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. All I'm saying this is the way that I do it. And this is coming from someone that's worked in the 3D industry for quite a few years. Each person I've worked with has done things slightly differently, and that's fine. I mean, that's their workflow, There is no one right or wrong workflow. So I just show you guys the way I tackle it and the way I do it, and it's always worked for me. So I find this the easiest and the best way that I've come across to do this type of work. Yeah, it is hard to contrast models if you do texture separately, Sniper. Okay, that's right. You know, you've got to see everything in context together to really get a feel for whether it's going to work or not. And that's how I feel anyway. If you can't see it all put together, how are you going to know whether it's going to look good or not? Flying Tragedy. You can indeed load them to Max, but rendering is nicer in Substance since you've got iRay. Or Unreal if you want their post effects. Yep, cool. We were talking about actually Yeah, I'm assuming you mean bringing the entire model into Substance and texturing it up that way. I don't know how many, I haven't used Substance for about a year, but this model might be a problem because it's quite large and it has quite a few textures on it. So to bring this model into Substance Painter, it might be a bit too big. You could certainly bring in the separate parts of the model and texture them up separately, which is the way I do it in Mari when I created these textures. You can do it that way, but then I like to, as I said, see everything together to make sure that all the textures are working properly. And that's the reason I generally like to paint them by hand and do it in Mari. But Substance Painter is great for physically based textures, that's for sure. And of course, Max itself has Mental Ray. Actually, I think they may have taken Mental Ray out of it now, and I generally work in V-Ray, so when I'm working in Max, doing any rendering. But this model is going to be rendered in Eon View, so I probably will do a couple of just model shots on their own in Max here and using V-Ray just to do an occlusion shot, a couple of occlusion renders, and a couple of model renders for when I put this up for sale on my Creative Market and Cornucopia stores. So I'll probably use V-Ray for that. But the general beauty shots are going to be rendered in Eon View. But it's good to know that you can load them into Substances into Max. I thought that you could. So thank you, Flying Tragedy, for that confirmation. And again, I'm just saving these separate pieces out so that I can take them into Knald, K-N-A-L-D, to create normal maps. Just before we continue on with that though, guys, my coffee's gone cold. You know the routine. I'm going to take a break for a couple of minutes while I go and grab a fresh cup of coffee. I will be right back. And thank you for the follow, Flying Tragedy. I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Like I said, it's great when you guys follow me on my Twitch channel. I do appreciate it. Sniper Echo, you're saying you've loaded a 5 million polygon object in Blender and applied textures and it works. Yeah, no, I wasn't talking about Blender. I was talking more about Substance Painter. I just haven't used Substance Painter for a while, so I don't know how many polys it can handle if you want to import geometry or not. That's what I like about painting in Mari, because Mari can handle millions of polygons as well for me to texture paint on. So yeah, and like I said, I like the hand-drawn, the hand-painted look of that I get with Mari, as opposed to using a physically based texture like Substance Painter. But Substance Painter is great software. I'm not dissing it. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not dissing any software. Just telling you what I use and why I like to use Mari. But I own Substance Painter myself, and I have used it. But anyway, I'm just going to take a quick break for a couple of minutes, guys. I will be right back. Just going to grab a fresh cup of coffee. I'll give you some epic music in my Be Right Back screen, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay. You're right, Mari isn't GPU accelerated, unfortunately. Just with a lot of the work that I used to do, and still some of the work that I do, Mari can handle very large texture sizes, and I haven't come across anything else that can create, as larger texture sizes that Mari can work with. Like I said, I've used Substance Painter as well, but my preference now is to use Mari. Particularly too because I do a lot of hand-painted texturing, so. But I wish they would include GPU acceleration in Mari. Lateness, you kind of wish they made their own standalone program. It's rarely you'll find one piece of software anyway that will do everything you want. That's generally why you've got to have a hard drive full of different pieces of software for different jobs. Okay, we'll export this one as an OBJ. And again, I'm just going to copy that texture into that gnarled folder so I can work with it. Let's call lower stair border right underscore paint 2. Lower border right under paint 2, this one here. And you'll notice, you remember when I created these pieces of geometry and I created the textures for them. I copied the texture name in to reflect what the piece of geometry was, and that was, I knew that I'd be working in gnarled, and that just makes it easier for me to load the right texture when it comes time for us to import the mesh and load up the diffuse map. And so we've got the stairs here, those two borders. I'm also going to take these two borders over here, because you remember these are using unique textures compared to these ones, so they're going to have different normal maps. And again, like I said, I'm not going to normal map every texture, just certain textures I think would benefit from having a normal map. Pull in here a bit so I don't accidentally select the ivy instead of the texture I want. Let's go right. Just checking out textures here. Okay. What about this one? Okay, it looks like what I remember doing now was when I created these 4 border sections here. These two have unique textures, as do these two on the end, and I swapped them around when I created the model. If you remember, we created 2 textures and used it on 4 pieces of geometry, so we don't have to move any textures over for those. Okay, let's do these tiles because they'll really benefit from having a normal map applied to them. This tile section here on the ground. Before I do that, let me just copy the name here. Like I was saying, you can use gnarled, you don't have to use the actual pieces of the geometry itself, but I just find it's easier to see exactly what the normal map's going to look like while you're adjusting it, if it's actually working on the piece of mesh that it's going to be applied to. But you can certainly just work with a plane or a cube if that's your preferred way to do things. And this is lower terrace tiles rework painted. Here. You'll know these are Targa files. Now generally my master files I'll keep as Targa. When I import these into Eon View to do the beauty renders, I'm going to convert them to JPEG just so it's a little bit lighter on the system, because Eon View is going to have the full 3D vegetation and environment, so it's going to be using billions of polygons generally. And I want to reduce my memory footprint as much as I can, and I know that these Targa files are quite large, so converting them into JPEG will save some memory space. And when I sell the model, I sell them as JPEG files, I don't sell them as Targa files. So you've got those tiles. I'm not going to normal map the statues because they contain enough detail as it is without requiring a normal map. I will do the side pieces though. Grab out texture map. Right basket painted. This one just here. Left banister painted, that one was, so I think I used the same texture map for both of them though. So one of them will be fine, we only have to worry about doing one. I do want to do, what do I want to do? I want to do these columns as well. Now I know we used 4 unique textures for these columns and then we started repeating them around the outside of the model. So I just have to export one mesh and then copy over 4 unique texture maps to create normal maps for them. And as I was saying, when I created my my materials here, I did them in an order so I knew what was what, and so I know where the materials for that are going to be, because I know any variations on a material I do, I go horizontal. If it's a new material, I go vertically. So all I really have to do is select one of them, and then I should find the right column here to work with. This one here. And so I know they're called large column painted, and then I just numbered them up, I think. Yeah, R2 to R4 from memory. Yep. So large column painted up to R4. Okay, so this one, this one, this one, and this one. What are you talking about, Leadness? Simple things as stitching can bring to a close-up shot. And I'm not sure if you're talking to me, Leadness, or what you're talking about. Because depending on how close you get when you do the render, you will see the detail in the textures. Generally though, because I have to sell the model, and most of the shots though are going to be from like a distance like that when I set the environment up to do the render, so that's so people can see the whole model, and they don't want to be up like this so that they won't really see what the rest of the model looks like. I might do 1 or 2 shots close up on parts of the model, but you may not be talking to me, Leetness, so I'm not sure. No, okay, you're doing belts on your model, okay. Alright, so we've got the columns now with the 4 versions so that we can create normal maps from 4 different textures. Because we just repeated those all the way around the outside of the model when we created it, if you remember. And just so that people wouldn't notice that we'd use the same texture around, we didn't have to create every one uniquely. I know that the straight sections here and here use two unique textures as well, so again I've only got to export one of the banisters and copy over two of the textures. And again, I'm just going to find that texture that they're using. You're doing a belt day, Leetness. Well, I know that that character model that you're working on had quite a bit of detailing, so... This one here, I think, from memory. Banister painted and banister painted too. Great. Wondering why I couldn't find it up there. I'm looking in the wrong section completely. There we go. This one and this one. Alright, so that'll get us both of those straight sections. And again, I had a feeling for these curved sections we created two unique textures and just moved them around, so...
Take my hand and we'll combine our sparks. Watch as we sew together, you and I.
And again, I'm just going to find those textures in our stack here. It's these two here. And they're called Banister Curved Inner Painted and Inner Painted 2. So that one and that one. We'll just paste them into our knobs folder. Yeah, fair enough. You know, I keep changing my settings in Nightbot so it doesn't spam my links quite so much, but nothing seems to work with it sometimes. I'll have to look at it again. It's being a bit spammy. No, I think we created three or four versions of these curved banister sections that we repeated, so we managed to export one. And just copy over the three or four textures. So. And again, I'm just going to open my material editor and pick that material so I can see where it is in the stack. This one here. And these are called Banister Curved Outer Painted up to number 4. So it's this one, this one, this one, and this one. So we did create 4 unique versions of it. We did that just so that, again, people wouldn't notice we were reusing the same texture around the outside of the model. So all of the curved sections here are fine. We just have the one unique large curved section here at the back. This one here. export. And we'll find our texture name here. And this one just here. Advanced to large.tga. Yeah. And again, I'm copying these in here. This is just for the benefit of when I go into null, so I know which textures I'm creating normal maps for. These are our main textures here. And when I export the model to take into Eon View, I'll put the JPEG texture versions in that folder, just to keep things organized a little bit better on your hard drive, or on my hard drive. What else do I want to create a normal map for? So we've got the large columns, we've got the banister sections, we've got the stairs, we've got the borders at the front. We have those tiles. I guess we'll do these tiles as well. Thank you, Heather, for following me on Twitch. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. So we're going to select the tiles up here on the top. So I want to create a normal map for those because this is just a flat plane, and it'll really benefit from having a normal map. So export selected. You'll notice I'm just using the default export values for max. It's generally fine. I'm going to select my texture here so I can copy it over. That's this one here. It's lower terrace painted.tga. Did I get that name wrong? Lower terrace painted. Didn't actually move that texture it should have. So when Max did its resource collection, it didn't move it from the folder it was originally in. I have to keep an eye on that. So it's under my F folder now. Stairs. So I'm going to copy this into two places. Lower terrace painted, it's this one here. So I want it copied into my null folder, and I also want to copy it into my finals folder, because Max didn't do it automatically like it should have. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like the work. I don't know how much of me creating it you've seen over the weeks, but this is our final textured version. I'm going to take this into Eon View and do a 3D environment beauty render of it, you know, full on 3D vegetation and that type of thing. So yeah, but I'll probably do that next week, I'd say. But thank you. So we have our tiles. I also want to make sure that this Tree of Life mosaic here is normal mapped as well. So